WCC champion and two-time national champion Christian Miller.
Once again with Christian Miller taking him down.
Here's college football playoff national champion Christian Miller on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
And welcome into this Wednesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, a very special Wednesday edition of the show. Why that is? Well, it is officially fall camp time. I know we kind of jumped the gun a little bit yesterday. Not really, because it was report day. I mean, it did officially start yesterday. But today is the first practice day, which they just concluded practice, meaning we will hear from head coach Kalen DeBoer in a few short minutes, Reed. So I'm really fired up about that. We'll get to hear what he had to say following practice number one. Tomorrow they'll practice again, as well as Friday. Both of those will be open to the media for the I always say pre-practice periods. It's not really pre-practice, but the individual periods, early periods, open things up for the media. So today, even though they hit the practice field, you won't be flooded with all those clips from the media of guys going through drills, the quarterbacks throwing, the DBs, getting in their drops, the D-line hitting the bags. You won't get those videos today, unfortunately. But tomorrow, you will get those. And Friday, of course. So we're looking forward to that. We're looking forward to diving into all y'all's questions. I know everybody's burning to talk about Alabama football because it's officially here, Reed. The dog days of summer have officially concluded. I mean, they technically are just kind of starting back up for the guys, that are playing, right? Thank God I'm not in those shoes anymore because it's too hot for me. Not trying to do all that, run around with all that equipment in 100-degree heat. But for them, they're in the dog days of summer, which, hey, listen, that's how you build character. We're talking about building physicality and toughness, man. What better way to do it than in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, early August when we know it's literally about at its hottest point, right? So we're going to be talking all things fall camp today, recapping practice number one. Now, again, wasn't, a media availability practice. So we're going to go off of what Coach DeBoer has to say at his press conference. We also have media day on, I think, Saturday, where they're going to open the floor to pretty much a bunch of guys. It's not just, because post-practice, let me go back a second, Reed. Let me kind of break it down. So the way things work with the practice schedule, right, I mentioned the other day. So you'll have like 5 or so practices that are open to the media, or have them. Let me say this. Let me reword this. That's not good wording. It's not open practice. People are going to show up to Mal Moore because they're listening to the Miller's Edge thinking it's an open practice. This is not.
I was about to say, don't have them rush it.
People are going to be climbing and scaling the gates. Say, hey, I heard Christian say it's an open practice. What's going? No. There's media availability for about 5 practices. The next 2 practices, tomorrow and Friday, and then the following week there's going to be 2 more, I think, and then like maybe 1 more a few days later. And that's, I think, pretty much it for media availability during practice. They are continuing the post-practice media availability for the players and coaches as well, right? Where they have like a defensive day. You'll hear from defensive coordinator Kane Womack. Some of the defensive players will be available in the indoor to get those interviews. I'm not going to be able to be up there because that happens around like 11:15, right? So we're currently live on air. So maybe we'll, I don't know, maybe we'll send some folks up there. Speaking of that, we're open to getting some interns on board. I don't mention this enough, but I've been thinking about this. We could use some help. So if there's any, I don't know, maybe UA students that are studying, I don't know, communications or, I mean, I guess that'd probably have to be a requirement. Maybe not. I don't know. But if you can do an internship and you're interested in working with us here on the Miller's Edge, maybe hit us up because we probably could figure some things out. I mean, that goes for social media, but also if you guys want to cover some stuff, y'all could go up there and be our boots on the ground while I'm running my mouth. You can just live feed, I guess, these interviews and stuff for us. And, we can talk about that. So, yes, we are accepting internship applications. I don't even have that set up yet, but just go to our website, themillersedge.com. You can get the contact info, email us if you guys are interested. But, probably preferably students because I think that's normally how internships work. Or I guess young folks that are just in the field that maybe want to get some experience. That would probably help us out. Reed, you have any friends? I mean, you probably know.
Yeah, I might have a few, but I was gonna say and especially Christian, if you could get it official, there's a class over at the university that I've already maxed out on, but it's called JCM 382. It's a internship course that you take to get credit hours. You could take it up to 3 times, and you get a total and max of 6 credit hours. So,
And so
Not too
that's for
bad.
doing internships, right?
Yes. You
Okay,
get
well,
you get per like hour. So like for 1 hour, like, and you can only get a max of 3 per semester. So for 1 hour it's 90, 2 hours it's 180, and then 3 hours 270. So my first time I took it, I got a little under that first hour threshold. I think I got like 150, so I got 1. Then the second time I got like 300, so I got 3. And then the time that I took it this last semester, I got like to that 2, so I fully maxed it out.
well, if you got any suitors or any folks that you know, Reed, definitely put them in contact with us because we definitely could use the help. Because we'll be getting those media availability periods after practice, pretty much every practice, right? In terms of the media being able to go see practices, maybe like 5 of those. But after practice, interviews and whatnot, that's pretty much every practice. And today is going to be starting with head coach Kalen DeBoer. He is the only one available. I don't think there's players today, but head coach Kalen DeBoer. So he's going to be speaking here in a few minutes. We'll carry that about as live as we can, right? Might be a few minutes after. But that said, we'll listen to it, we'll break it down, and we'll discuss what he had to say following practice number 1. I just can't believe it's already back, Reed, and we're really about a month away from the first game, pretty much.
Yeah, it just flies by. It really does.
It does. It feels like we just concluded A-Day and we were, gearing up for summer. Now we're already at fall camp, which, speaking of fall camp time, that comes with a lot of, I guess, predictions, things that people have been doing, but I think people are now kind of making official their expectations, their predictions, right? They're saying, hey, it's fall camp time. Let's go ahead and get these in now. We're locking them in, and then we're going to see how things go. Because, Reed, I've got like 3 that I've seen already from the folks over at On3, different individuals with their predictions for Alabama's 2026 football season. So we need to talk about that. We'll listen to those clips. We'll probably do that after we hear from head coach Kalen DeBoer, because I know that's going to be coming up here shortly. And speaking of coming up, which the season is, I mentioned this yesterday, but just to confirm, talked with the folks over at the Crimson Tide Sports Network yesterday, man. Love Jim and Roger and all them. Great team over there. Chris Tour, they're awesome, man. And I mentioned this yesterday, but just to remind you guys, right? So I host the post-game show, but now I'll be hosting the pregame show with Roger Hoover in that first hour on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. So you get to hear me pregame and postgame. So if you guys, enjoy breakdowns and all that stuff. Now, of course, we can't really do a breakdown pregame, but we'll do, what to expect kind of deal, preview, right? So we'll have the preview on the pregame show and the breakdown on the postgame show with Gray Robertson. So make sure you guys check that out. Of course, downloading that Tide 100.9 app lets you listen to not just us, but all the shows here on the station, but also listen to Alabama football games and the pre and post game show where you can hear me, Roger, Gray, the whole crew, right? It's going to be fun. I'm really excited about that. So I just confirmed all that yesterday. Just want to keep pointing that out, keep plugging that. That way you guys can keep up with, I guess, all the broadcasts I'll be doing this football season, which is always fun, man. Keeps me busy. I'm really excited about that. It's definitely a blessing to be able to just talk football and make a living doing that. I really, really enjoy that. And I appreciate you guys helping make that possible. So, Reed, let's do this. Let's go ahead and hit our timeout just a little bit early. That way we can be ready once this Kalen DeBoer press conference is underway. We'll carry that as live as we can. Again, we'll watch it here. You can always tune into our streams at the Miller's Edge right here on YouTube, on X, the Tide 100.9 Facebook page, my personal X account at Christian Mill R. That way you can watch us do the show. We can watch Kalen DeBoer's press conference. You can interact with everybody in the chat, hang out, have a good time, ask your questions. It's a vibe. Why wouldn't you want to do that? We always encourage you guys to do it. If you have any of those platforms, definitely check us out at the Miller's Edge. As we get rocking and rolling, football is officially here. Practice number 1 in the books. We'll hear from head coach Kalen DeBoer coming up very shortly right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
Listen hourly for Tuscaloosa Thread local news updates.
All right, chat, let's check in and see who we got here, man. I know you guys are fired up. We'll get to this Kalen DeBoer interview here shortly. As soon as we get it. We got, is that new? Is that Fonzo? What's up, Fonzo? I don't know if I've seen you in here before. LFG Roll MF Tide, man. I love the enthusiasm. Welcome in. And he's got a lot of enthusiasm. Football is back with about 100 Ks. Lank, natty year. Fonzo's feeling it, man. That's what football season will do to you, man. Kenji, what's up? Happy Wednesday, Roll Tide. We got Kyle. What's going on, man? Good afternoon if you guys are on Eastern time. We got QD 10-2, nothing less. Nothing less. We'll have to see. we'll get to these schedule predictions here in a moment. Again, there's just some folks over at On3. I know we've talked about it throughout the offseason, but I think they're kind of locking them in. And they actually go through the schedule and list the wins, the specific wins and losses, which I think is a little bit interesting, right? Because I don't think we've really touched on that part. We haven't gotten that deep, but it seems like people are. So we'll definitely we'll hear what they have to say, then we'll respond. We'll get y'all's thoughts on these schedule predictions. But save it for when we get to that point, because I want you guys to type it now, then we forget it. So we'll just wait till we get to that. I wanted to get to Kalen DeBoer first, since practice number 1 is in the books now, and he should be speaking here shortly. 5 Adam says Roll Tide 12-0. You probably would win a lot of money if you bet on that right now. Piano Man, what's up? Roll Tide. We got Mike. What's up? Made it. Goodbye, summer. Yeah, technically, yeah. Dog days of summer are over, so let's go. School's starting back up for students. What is it like? I think, is high school started back up yet? I don't know. It is that time of year. I used to not like this time of year when I was in school. When I was younger, I used to always be so like nervous before like school started back, man. I don't know why. I hated like the first few weeks of school. I don't know if you guys are like that too, but I hated the first few weeks. I always had to kind of get used to my new classes, new teachers and all that. I hated it. Jacory, what's up? Roll Tide. We got, is that Raheem? What's up? Roll Tide. Let's go. Coach DeBoer is going to be speaking here shortly. Could be in the next 5 minutes, could be next 10 minutes. It kind of varies. But as soon as we have that, I'm going to pot it up and we'll listen to the whole thing and respond to it, react to it. You guys know the drill. Travelpreneur, what's up? Oh, and by the way, if you guys are just tuning in or getting in here, man, make sure you guys hit that like button on the way in. Always got to remind you guys to do that. Helps us out, helps more people get in here, helps the show grow, which makes it a lot more fun and entertaining for you guys in the chat. So if you guys don't mind, man, that's all we ask you guys to do. Everything's free around here. Just hit that like button, subscribe if you're not, and share the videos if you can. Arthur, what's up? Roll Tide. We got Trevor, what's up? We got a bunch of folks in here. I love it. What's up, guys? We got Paul, what's going on? We got Ken, that dude, what's up? Finally, some real news to talk about. Absolutely, man. Put the recruiting behind us. Put all the what ifs, the predictions. Well, I guess we still got a few more weeks of that somewhat, but Kalen DeBoer interview, folks are going to pick that apart. You already know how that goes. You already know. I don't think he's going to be. I think I even heard Roman say it. Roman Harper was like, man, he's not going to really win me over with any interviews. It's all about what they do on what they do on the football field, which, I mean, he's not wrong, but I was like, damn, Roman. Damn. All right. Let's bring us back. Dwight, what's up? What's up? And welcome back into this Wednesday edition of the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We're waiting for this Coach DeBoer interview, press conference, I should say. That's coming up very shortly. We'll get that as soon as it drops live, and we'll listen to it and react to it. He will be discussing practice number 1 that is in the books now. Remember, they get to the practice field a little early, around like 9:15, 9:20ish or whatever. Finish up probably around 11 or so, and so typically he starts making his way to the indoor. So we will hear from him very shortly. We'll have that video played live on our live stream. So if you guys want to watch the press conference, check us out on our YouTube channel at The Miller's Edge. Of course, on all the other platforms at The Miller's Edge is where you can find us. In the meantime, I did read that he sat down with Andrew Bone, the newest member of the Yay Alabama team, ahead of this practice, right? And they put out, I guess, the article this morning kind of leading up to the practice. So we'll start here as we await his official press conference following practice number 1. But they covered a number of things, expectations and the culture, the off-season work, how he's going to make a decision when it comes down to the quarterback battle. So I'll kind of just pick and choose a few things from here. Plus, we got some updated numbers, Reed, on the weights, right, of all the players going down the roster. There were some noticeable changes, I think. We can't hit on everybody. I mean, there's probably too many guys to point out. But off the top of my head, I think a few that stood out. Jackson Lloyd put on some good size, which I think is very beneficial. We know that he's a talented guy, coming out of California. I know he played basketball. I think he played multiple sports. Really good athlete. You can see it in his footwork. I think he fits what they want to do. But one of the things that I think he could benefit from is getting a little bit stronger, right? I think if you turn on the tape, and again, very young. He barely played last year, and he's only been on campus maybe like a year and a half because he's a redshirt freshman now. Listen, you kind of expect this, right? He's going to get bigger and stronger, but sometimes on tape, he struggles at really anchoring down, right? When people hit him with that speed to power, that kind of shows up. He gets walked back a little bit. So seeing some of that added weight, I think, is a big plus, right? I think he put on around 9 pounds or so, something like that. So that stood out to me because he is the projected starting left tackle, very important position. And if one of the areas of weakness in his game was handling and anchoring down on power, I think it's going to be very beneficial to add a little bit more mass heading into training camp. So that stood out to me. How about Xavier Griffin? Reed, I don't know if you saw this, but he's now up to like 228 pounds. So he's pushing 230 going into his freshman campaign. And this was a guy that I remember they were talking about him being maybe, I don't know, around 200, 205 coming out of high school. He came in, put in the work during the spring. He got up to around 222. Now he's entering fall camp at 228, which is good. You always want to enter at a little bit heavier if you can, because you already know, right? With the practice schedule, with the heat, everybody drops a bunch of weight during fall camp. Like for me, I always wanted to show up as heavy as possible, because if I showed up at 225 in about a week or two, I'm probably 215, just because it's so hard. And yes, they're feeding you and fueling you with all these things, these shakes, the smoothies, the food. Half the time, Reed, you think you have a big appetite after running around in the sun for hours and doing all this stuff? No. But 228 for him, I love it, because, we've been talking about it. He's probably going to get some more looks on the edge at that wolf spot, more than likely in passing situations, but could be a situation where he could grow into playing a little bit of wolf, right? I think it really just depends on team needs. I think he'd excel both inside and at outside backer. So seeing him at 228 was, in my opinion, very encouraging, right? In terms of him getting on the field early, which we know, from a pass rush standpoint and an ability standpoint, he's got a little bit of that quick twitch that just separates him from the rest of the pack. And I've seen him at 228, Reed. I feel like that feels like he's even closer to probably seeing some type of role or having some type of contribution. We expected him to have one, but if I'm being honest with you, if he was at 210, it would be an uphill battle. Not saying he couldn't find a role. I mean, special teams, we all know he could play. Maybe still try to put him out there in certain situations or at times, right? But at 210, you'd be a little bit like, okay, there's some limitations here. At 228, I mean, if you look at the inside backers from last season, I mean, he's already bigger than, I want to say those guys averaged like 225. Deontay Lawson had lost weight, and he was playing around 225, at least for a large portion of the season. We all know Justin Jefferson was always on the smaller side. I don't think he really was ever. He might have got up to around 228, but realistically, he was lighter than that. Nikhai Green was probably the biggest one. So the fact that you're seeing Xavier Griffin already at 228 pounds, I mean, even if you're playing him at stack backer, I think he could probably hold his own. Now, strength and all that, I don't know his strength numbers, right? Like in the weight room, that's a whole other thing too, because you're talking about taking on those big old guards, right? In the SEC, you can't just be big; you got to be strong too.
Yeah,
yeah. He's a great athlete. I'm sure he's got a little bit something to him, but I really was impressed to see that. I think Devin Tompkins put on a couple pounds. Nothing really big there, 298 to 300. But it is interesting, because you're starting to see not just him, but some of these other guys that I feel like have similar, projections, right? Like some of the young guys, I want to say, is it Nolan Wilson? I feel like they had him listed as 285 now, and it's like 35 pounds more than what he was originally listed at. I don't know if that's actually kind of how much he gained, or if he was already a little bit bigger and the weight was wrong initially. But to me, it almost feels like he's kind of has a similar frame. I think he's also around 6'5", right? So, I think that's almost kind of, you've seen an evolution at the bandit spot. They almost are going a little bit bigger, right? Knowing that these guys are going to be very strong at the point of attack when playing at that 5 technique, 6 technique spot, maybe have a tight end in front of them, be on the tackle. But then they have the ability to really hold at the point of attack when they have to kick down some, right? And play a little bit more in odd fronts, that 4-eye technique. So just some interesting stuff with some of those guys. Did you get to see these numbers? Were there anybody that stood out to you? I know Keelan Russell put on a few pounds, like 6 pounds, which is good. Added mass for him. That's always a plus. It's a benefit. I think he's up to like 207, right? So that's trending in the right direction. I'm trying to think if there's anything like very noticeable. I know Caleb Woodson's now at 240. I mean, it's only a couple pounds there, but just knowing he's bigger than the backers you had last year, but probably just as athletic. I mean, you get really excited about kind of what he brings to the table, right? I mean, what do you think, Reed? I mean, any other numbers stood out to you?
No, I mean, I only saw a few, just some basic ones that you touched on. But I think Xavier Griffin for sure. I think he's trying to, like you said, of course, lifting, and actually having that weight on are two different things. But at least from the weight aspect, he's pretty much giving the coaches no choice but to try to put him on the field at least for year one.
Yeah, I mean that's what it feels like, man. I mean, and listen, you got to be undeniable. You got to make yourself undeniable, and things like that, addressing areas of weakness. Not saying again, it's not like a huge area of weakness, but that's one thing, right? You say, hey, the guys got all the talent, but we need him to be a little bit bigger, right? Well, he's answering that bell, right? I mean, every time he shows back up, whether it's from summer, spring, whatever, the guy's continuously putting on weight. You see him; he's always training, he's always working. I just think his future's so bright, man.
I was gonna say,
I
yeah,
mean,
and it's kind of like you always touch upon about Christian about how Nick Saban's always saying that butt factor, right? He's trying to completely eliminate that, so they have no other choice but like saying, we have no reason not to, play him.
yeah, I mean, and that's what you have to do, man. Eliminating the butts, the BUTs, right? The BUTS, you got to eliminate those. In terms of just kind of wrapping up that conversation on the weights, I know Terrence Green, he dropped 6 pounds. Kind of interesting there. I know they wanted to get bigger up front, which he definitely, from a frame standpoint, he's much bigger, right? Tim Keenan was what 6'2", maybe like 6'1", 3/4. Now you're talking about you got a 6'5" nose tackle, so the length is much improved. He originally was 330, now and then he got down to like 319. Now he lost a few more pounds. I think he's down to 313. So that's going to be interesting to see, right? How does that? I'm not going to be the one to sit here and say like, oh man, he dropped the weight. Now he's going to be this elite pass rusher. But he definitely is more of a run stuffer, same thing. But can this translate, right, to some more pass rush ability? Maybe, I don't know. These are little things I'm just curious about that we'll definitely be paying attention to over the next few weeks of fall camp. Now that I have the list pulled up here, Nick Brooks, he's dropped some weight. The Texas transfer, who they had playing a little bit of guard, then he's working in at some tackle. And we talked a little bit about him last week. Listen, I think if you're going to work him at tackle, I like that he's dropping some weight because he was a big guy. I think he initially was like 360 pounds. So to see that he's trending in the right direction, dropping some, down to 333, I think that's going to allow him to move much better if he is in fact going to be competing at that right tackle spot. And 330 is still plenty big enough, right? Don't get it twisted, especially at his height. He's a big dude. He's tall too. So I'm curious to see how he looks. Now, he was already down to 339, so it's just a 6-pound difference. But from last season, him being 360 to now him being in that low 330 range, I think could be a big benefit. Similar to what we talked about last season, like with Caden Proctor being that left tackle. We know, listen, he had his limitations, he had his struggles, especially with speed rushers, right? Kind of turning open the gate. We all know that. But he was a great athlete, especially for a bigger guy. And I used to talk about this all the time. If he were to have had this type of transformation like Nick Brooks, right? Because Proctor was in the 360s, maybe not even 330. Maybe he got down to like 340. I think it would have benefited him so much. I think he would have been so much more comfortable in space, right? Because he already had the athleticism, but I just think like just 360 is just you don't need to be that big, right? It's overkill. And I wish we could have seen that type of transformation for him, at least a consistent one. Because I remember there was rumors that he had dropped a lot of weight, and everybody was like, "Man, he's listed at this now." And then I'm up at the complex like the next day, and I'm like looking at him, I'm like, bro, he looks damn near the same. Either he holds his weight extremely well. I'm like, I don't know if he lost as much weight as everybody's saying he did. I think that might have been some fake news, but Nick Brooks, I will be curious to see how that works out for him. And then just putting a bow on it. Racing Delgatti, 301 to 305. Always good to add a little bit more, again, a little bit more mass there. A guy that's coming from Cal Poly, going to have to make that transition, going against the big boys in the SEC. I think 305 is a good weight for him. And he's expected to be your starting center. So I would say I was encouraged. Again, these are just weights and numbers. I don't want to overreact to them, but just some little observations. I do think when you look at the offensive line, I want to tip my hat to those guys because I feel like they did the things necessary over the summer to prepare themselves for this season, whether it was the guys that needed to drop some pounds or the guys that needed to put on a few pounds, right? Jackson Lloyd, Racing Delgado, adding a little bit of weight. Then you see guys like Nick Brooks, right, going in the opposite direction. To me, I'm like, hey, for a group that we know has a lot of question marks, if there's one thing we can draw from it, and maybe it's a stretch, they're locked in. I mean, they're doing the necessary things to make sure themselves as individuals are in the best position possible for these competitions that are brewing on the offensive line. I mean, can we at least say that? That's not an overreaction.
No, I was going to say a good sign is better than no sign.
There you go. Yeah. So I think we all can agree on that. All right, let's do this. We'll hit this timeout when we come back. Hopefully we'll have this interview or this press conference. I keep calling it an interview. I guess same thing. This press conference from head coach Kalen DeBoer coming up following practice number 1, getting his thoughts on what went down on the first day on the football field in training camp. We'll hear that very shortly right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Do you have cracks or potholes that are dragging? Shout out to Asphalt Restoration. If you have any of those cracks or potholes. If you guys are just tuning in, man, welcome in. We're going to hear from head coach Kalen DeBoer very shortly, waiting for that to be posted. And then we'll listen to his press conference following practice 1. We'll break it down and all that good stuff. If you guys haven't, man, we just ask you hit that like button on your way in. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. We got coverage coming all camp, of course, all season long. We'll be doing our previews, breakdowns, all that stuff. I guess my dogs are doing some in the background. Let's see some of these chats real quick. Smitty says D lineman Nolan Wilson gained 30 pounds and was a summer enrollee. Yeah, I saw that, man. That was definitely interesting. I think they're kind of moving in that direction. Some of these bigger body bandits, right? You talk about being more consistent, stopping the run, holding up at the point of attack. I definitely understand it. And there's also still guys that offer flexibility. For example, I think it was Jamarian Matthews. I know he's a young guy, but he's, trending upward a little bit. I think he was at like 254 now. I think he's working in at Wolf, but he's starting to kind of grow into that, I guess, more of a bandit, not the newer age bandit frame like the 280, but still growing into maybe a little bit more of that athletic bandit that you could work with, depending on the personnel on offense that you're facing, right? So I think they have some good personnel to work with defensively that will allow Kane Womack to get in and out of different personnel groupings, right? Depending on you want to go bigger, you want to go a little bit more athletic, depending on the profile. I think it's going to start opening some things up. All right, we got Robert on the phone lines. Let's see if we got this Kalen DeBoer press conference pulled up yet. Should be here any second, man. But I'm not even sure if he's even started. I don't have the, let's see. Not quite. So maybe we can take a quick phone call real quick while we wait on that. Let's see. What else do we got in the chat? Smitty says, question, Christian, is talking about player weight, loss, gain, away coaches can see who's locked in. That's a good question. So to an extent, because the reality is, I mean, like we're talking about it here, right? And we're kind of trying to pull stuff from it. If I'm being honest with you, it's, this is just good radio conversation. A lot of it probably doesn't mean a whole bunch, but I do think, like I mentioned, the offensive line, the fact that a number of those guys, some of them needed to gain weight, some of them needed to lose weight, and that's what you saw. To me, right, whether it's really digging, to extract some stuff or not, I think that's a positive sign. I mean, it does, in my opinion, show that guys are locked in, because I've seen it where you've got guys that need to lose weight and you can clearly tell they're not doing the things necessary to do that. And that shows you the complete opposite, that, hey, these guys probably aren't, locked in the way they need to be. And typically that's how you can start, I'm not saying fall down depth charts, but, they give you chance after chance, and the nutritionist trying to work with you. The strength coach is trying to get you to do extra. There is some to that. So, yeah, I think there is a little bit of that. Another way they can tell if you're locked in, nowadays they can track the amount of hours that you watch film on your iPads. I don't know if you guys know that. But now that everything's using technology, it's not just physical playbooks. They can track the amount of hours guys are logged into their iPads and watching film. So that is another way the coaches can see if you're locked in. And welcome back into this Wednesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Fall camp officially here, Reed. Officially the first day of fall camp, the official first day. Yesterday was the first day. Today is the official first day because practice number 1 is now in the books. We're scheduled to hear from head coach Caitlin DeBoer any minute now, but I know we still have a couple minutes probably until that's pulled up. So let's do this. I see we got a phone call. Let's take a question or two. We'll go to the phone lines while we wait to hear from head coach Caitlin DeBoer. 205-342-9904. We have Robert up first. Robert, welcome in.
Hey, bud. Hey, I was listening to the last part of what you said about Proctor. Don't you know? I don't know if you knew. You might already. I might have missed this. But for the combine, he lost like 30 or 40 pounds. He didn't do it. What he didn't do it was in Tuscaloosa. He did it when he was heading to the combine. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did hear about that. Now that you bring that up, you're right. He did lose.
Well, that kind of makes him mad, to be honest with you. But I mean, paid him a bunch of money, and he never took the time. Didn't put the effort into losing the weight while he was here. He did it when he was heading to the combine. I don't know how it sits well. It doesn't sit well with me, but maybe there's more to the story.
No, well, that's fair. But what's interesting though? It's not like he. I would say in the past, it'd be like, well, I get it, man. He's working to get that bag, but he was getting the bag here. Not only he got one from us, he went to Iowa, got a little bit of one, got another one.
Yeah.
When he came back here. I mean, so like he had plenty of, I guess, motivation to do it too. So I understand that is a little bit frustrating, but yeah.
I mean, he was a 5-star, right? I mean, the height with him was huge, and I would say he was a very good player. He wasn't a great player now, but he was very good. I mean, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't elite as far as, but based on what he was built up to be, in my opinion. But I just thought that when I heard that heading into the combine, I was kind of like, what's up? It didn't make any sense. But I enjoy your show, man. I'm ready for football. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Oh, okay. Nice, short and sweet, man. He just wanted to say, hey, man, listen, Caden Proctor, he ticked me off, man. Appreciate it. Love the show. Hey, I like it, man. That's cool. Nothing wrong with that. To his point, I don't know how much he lost in total, Reed. I'm trying to pull it up. I'm trying to see what he's listed at for Miami. I do know that he's been moved to guard, which a lot of people projected that would be the case once he got to the NFL. I think that's a really good fit for him. He's a very powerful guy, very strong guy. He's a mover, right? He's a mauler. I would imagine if we had a better left tackle behind him that you could trust in, I mean, there probably would have been at least a consideration to work him in at guard, especially given that we really struggled at that spot. He probably could have got you some really nice movement, man. Imagine the combo blocks. But then again, I'm watching tape and I'm seeing him working some deuce blocks at the tackle spot, and he's in charge of banging that hip and climbing up, and he just kind of giving a little tap. I'm like, I don't know. Don't get me started on offensive line last year. We're going to wait and see how this offensive line takes shape. That's clearly one of the biggest things that we're going to be paying attention to during fall camp, trying to see kind of the position battles, the chemistry, how everybody falls into place. But really, right, execution, that's a big deal, right? I mean, of course, we want to see more physicality. That's first and foremost. But really, man, the execution piece, Reed, that was something that lacked a lot. And hopefully the expectations, Adrian Clem and staff can try to improve on that, because I think and I mentioned that on my run game breakdown, like, of course, being more physical in the run game is important. We know that, right? Getting more push initially, it all starts with that. However, execution alone, I think, could have a really big impact on that running game, even if it's just a small marginal type of impact. It's something. And at the end of the day, man, you just got to have balance. You got to be able to run the ball to take pressure off your quarterback, take pressure off the offense. And if they can find a way to do that, then I think this offense will be even better, especially given that you got yourself a young quarterback, whether it's going to be Austin Mack or Keelan Russell. We're still waiting on head coach Caitlin DeBoer's press conference. And I apologize. I know you guys are eager to hear from him. And trust me, I really want to hear from him and hear what he had to say. But I promise we'll get to that as soon as it comes up. So in the meantime, Reed, we did have some of these, I guess, schedule predictions, or I guess record predictions for Alabama. I guess we can go ahead and dive into those while we are waiting for this press conference to be pulled up. Let's start with, they're all from the gentleman at On3. and they broke it down specifically on wins and losses. We'll start with, I guess, Blaine Crane from Crane & Co. We'll get his Alabama record prediction. Then we'll listen to a couple more. Then we'll get y'all's as we await the press conference from head coach Kalen DeBoer following practice number 1. Here we go. Blaine Crane.
Alabama record prediction. Hold my hand. East Carolina at home, win. At Kentucky, win. Sorry, Sammy. Florida State at home, win. South Carolina at home, win. Mississippi State on the road, close, but win. Georgia at home, loss. Tennessee on the road, win. A&M at home, loss. Bye week at LSU, loss. Vandy at home, Diego Pavia, not there, win. Chattanooga at home, ass kicking. Auburn at home, they win the Iron Bowl.
So there you go. Let me let him finish.
Iron Bowl. Alabama, 9-3.
There you go. So I just wanted to let him say that last piece. Just give you guys some motivation. I know our fans hate hearing that. Here, all right, I got his record prediction here pulled up on the screen. That way we can refresh our minds right here, Reed. So he's got Alabama going 5-0 to start the season, right? First loss, Georgia at home. Then he has us going on the road and beating Tennessee, but then 2 back-to-back losses. Texas A&M, another loss at home. Remember, there's that bye week ahead of LSU, which, historically speaking, Alabama has fared very well, right? Because it's always that bye week before you go play LSU, whether it's at home or away. And typically, Alabama, I mean, I would say our record on the road at LSU is very good, right? I don't have the specific numbers in front of me. I do know when I was here, I never lost to them. We always not just beat them. I feel like we when I was here, like my 5 years when we played at LSU, as tough as an environment as it is, we always wouldn't handle business, man. And I don't know what it was about it. It almost was like that environment like fired us up, right? It's hard to explain, man. Death Valley is just, it's a different breed, man. But he has us losing in Death Valley, then finishing the final 3 games 3-0, right? Vanderbilt, Chattanooga, and Auburn. Big win in the Iron Bowl. Here's my thing, Reed. This prediction has us losing 2 games at home, which that's a little tough to kind of to feel out, right?
That's what I was thinking.
You know, because I mean, Bryant-Denny Stadium, like, I know I've made comments, and I'm just being honest. It's just me being completely transparent. I mean, I don't think we have the rowdiest atmosphere in the SEC. I don't. I mean, we're probably maybe top 5 when it's really up there. But I mean, like, I think of Tennessee, A&M, LSU, even Auburn. You know, those places feel like, you know, sometimes I feel like Alabama fans are so respectful, and they're so used to just beating folks down. Like, you know, we don't have like the rowdiest environment. That said, we are very, very tough to beat at home. Not saying it's impossible, but very tough to beat at home. It's hard for me to see those 2 losses at home. I almost feel, because I've said my prediction feels a little bit more in that 9-3 range, just because of the youth of this team. So many question marks. Knowing that we've in the past 2 years at least dropped a game we probably shouldn't. That's why I kind of feel like 9-3 is a possibility, because it's like, all right, if you drop one of those games that you're not, like an unexpected loss, right, that we've seen, and then 2 losses to maybe like Georgia or one of those other, you know, LSU or A&M, right? Like, I feel like that feels possible given all the circumstances this year. But I don't know if I see it like this. I'm not saying this can't happen, but I don't know if I see us dropping 3 of those 4 in that stretch. If we go 9-3, I feel like there would be like maybe 1 loss kind of in those first 5 games, maybe one of those games you don't expect, or maybe, and I hate to say it like this, but something like the Iron Bowl, you know what I mean? Like one of those very emotional games, or just whatever. I feel like it might be one that you don't necessarily have Alabama losing. That said, I think 10-2 is definitely in the realm of possibilities. I think 11-1 is really starting to feel like you're stretching it, if I'm just being honest. Just as young as we are as a football team, the offensive line, I mean, there's so much hanging on them. You still have a lot of youth up front at that position paired with youth at the quarterback position. If I'm just being honest, I know people get upset hearing that. 11-1 feels like a stretch. But you have to remember, guys, like, we're in a new age now. We're playing a 9-game conference schedule, right? There's more parity in college football than ever. So to me, 10-2 is like the new 11-1 anyways. I think if you can go 10-2 on a year-to-year basis in this league, and you're making the college football playoffs, I'll be honest with you, I don't think anybody should be complaining too much. Of course, it's not going to be fun to lose 2 games because no one wants to lose anyway. And then you're used to maybe losing 1 game over the last 2 decades, throughout the regular season. I get it, but remember, time's a little bit different. That's not an excuse. That's just kind of how things are right now. But you don't want to lose games that you should lose. That's my biggest thing. So I said this yesterday, and I'll piggyback off of that. If it were to be the case where it played out like this, right, you do lose to Georgia, A&M, LSU, all 3 teams that are expected to be college football playoff type contending teams, right? I think we all can agree on that. Maybe people disagree with LSU because they have a tough schedule and they got a lot of newness as well. So, I mean, maybe not. You get what I'm saying. But A&M and Georgia both made the college football playoffs last year. And LSU, they have a really good roster of guys, comprised of guys they brought in via the transfer portal. And their staff is a really good coaching staff. So, I mean, I think people have high expectations. That said, if these are like close losses, Reed, similar to what we talked about, I mean, it's kind of in line with what I was almost thinking preseason. So I wouldn't be too upset. Of course, I'd be upset not making the college football playoff. But if we put out a physical product, we put out a team every week that was competitive, you know what I mean? Didn't have a whole bunch of mistakes. The execution's better. You see them fighting. You see them have that toughness, that mentality that we're yearning for. But they're just close losses, right? I mean, listen. I could take away from this upcoming year that, hey, we saw progress in the key areas when you pop the hood, right? We've talked about that. Not the results, but the actual, the guts, right? The meat and potatoes. Because from year 1 to year 2, we talked about this yesterday. I don't think there's been big improvement with the meat and potatoes. The results, we've seen improvement, but under the hood, I don't think we've seen big improvement. That's what I really want to see. So if that results in something like this, I think we can hang our hat on the fact that 2027, you pretty much got all these guys coming back. And they're going to be older. They're going to be more experienced. I think you feel really confident like that. But that's looking way too far ahead. We got a couple more record predictions we'll talk about. And we'll listen to them, we'll respond, react to them, get y'all's thoughts on this as well. Plus, we'll hear from head coach Kalen DeBoer in his very first press conference of the 2026 football season following practice number 1. That's coming up shortly right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Do you have cracks or potholes that are dragging down your... All right, good deal, guys. We're rolling. I know you guys don't like that when we talk about these record predictions. You're seeing the three red bars, man. But again, not saying that's going to happen. I mean, I think 10-2 is definitely possible. I mean, listen, I think what can end up happening. I think Coach Saban mentioned it. Was it yesterday at the Knicks Kids event that he was doing? You're kind of flying under the radar right now, man. And maybe that's what this team needs. Maybe taking some of that pressure off of them and allowing them to fly under the radar a little bit. Maybe that's going to kind of give them a little bit of motivation, a little bit of a fire. And maybe just a little bit of, less pressure. And they end up exceeding expectations. I mean, that would be great. That would be great. But in terms of those 5 games to start the season, I mean, there's some sneaky ones in there, man. I mean, Mississippi State on the road, the trajectory that they're on. They got a dynamic quarterback. I think it's going to be, it's Kalen DeBoer's first time going and playing Mississippi State. That's a very interesting place to play for sure. All the cowbells and whatnot. Defensively, I think they've definitely started to trend in the right direction. South Carolina, we've talked about this those last 2 years, man. That's been a dogfight. I guess call it a cockfight, right? Gamecocks. Florida State, they come to Tuscaloosa. We better beat the brakes off of them. But that Kentucky one, man, first SEC road game, very early in the second week of the season. Are you going to be prepared for that moment, right? Because again, we're expecting growing pains. And you're talking about whole new offensive line with youthful quarterback with not much experience. First SEC road game. They've got new faces on their staff, new faces on their roster. I mean, if you can go 5-0 in that stretch, I mean, I think if you go 5-0 in that stretch, there's a good chance you can go 10-2. If you drop one during that stretch, I think is leaning more 9-3. That's what it feels like, at least. Of course, I'm not saying I'm Cleo or I'm some psychic or prophet, I should say. My dad would probably prefer me say prophet. Not saying I'm that, just saying that's kind of how it feels. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully we just go undefeated and just run the table like Indiana last year. Bama Man says, I think we beat the brakes off Kentucky respectfully. Yeah, I hope so. I mean, again, we definitely could. I just don't necessarily feel that's the most likely outcome. I mean, I think definitely think we can beat Kentucky. Right? I think we expect us to beat Kentucky, but I just think like beating the brakes off them week 2, knowing that we're going to be still like you guys got to remember, like week 1, a lot of times teams are, even coaching staffs are still trying to figure out really what they have. Like even back when Coach Saban was the head coach, it's no different. Like you still like, it's so early, guys, that teams change a lot from week 1 to week 6 to week 10. I mean, like it's a constant evolution, right? So week 2 is just really early, and then we're talking about being on the road in an SEC environment. I mean, just if you need any evidence, I mean, look back at Florida State last year, right? I mean, it's a very early game. The team that went out on the field week 1 was not the same team that we saw down the stretch in the SEC that went 7-1 in the conference. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's just typically how it works. Teams, they grow and develop over the course of the season. Typically, the older, more experienced teams, they have less growing pains. They're probably a little bit more ready or a little bit closer to their final product earlier on in the season. And just was, I mean, our offense, man, it's young. It's really young. I'm not saying there's a lack of talent, because this team has a lot of talent. But it's just a matter of, can they put it all together as quick as possible and find their stride sooner rather than later? I think that's one of the most important question marks for 2026. And welcome back into this Wednesday edition, first day of fall camp edition of the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We got a whole bunch of folks hanging out watching, and we appreciate you guys keeping up with us. I know we got this Kalen DeBoer press conference coming up. Don't worry, I promise it is coming as soon as possible. Maybe it got started a little bit late, Reed. Maybe so. I don't know. I mean, I'm seeing the clips from it pop in now. So that said, it has happened, or it's happening. We just need the live link, which should be coming up here shortly. So we only have a few minutes for this top of the hour break. So hopefully the game plan should be, Reed, when we come back from the top of the hour break, we'll have the full interview. Worst case, we can start just throwing up some of these clips kind of in the meantime, just to kind of, give you some breadcrumbs, right? So we give you the whole loaf, because I know everybody's fired up in awaiting that. Let me turn it over to you, Reed, and let me ask you real quick. Day 1 in the books. Anything you're looking to hear or expectations from this press conference? I know, and I get it. It's day 1. I'll be the first one to tell you guys. Day 1 of football practice, football camp is always. We talked about orientation day yesterday, just getting your playbooks, kind of getting the schedule, getting everything down pat. Day 1 of practice is very similar, but on the practice field, right? I mean, it's a practice, but you're talking about, you're going over like day 1 install. So you're kind of laying the foundation. You're really trying to, get the practice schedule and the practice habits, formed, right? So don't expect like anything crazy. It's just a helmets type practice, kind of going out. I'm not saying going through the motions, right? It's definitely a football practice, but there's probably not going to be anything groundbreaking. That said, I'm sure there's probably going to be a little development here or there that we can probably go off of. Anything that you're expecting or that you want to hear, Reed, when we get to this press conference?
No, Christian, I think the main thing was, and you kind of touched on it a little bit, is that they're not going through the motions. Now, credit, like you said, like it's just going to be day 1, right? Like I'm not expecting them to go out and be like full ready as if the season's starting tomorrow, but I kind of just want them to come ready to go. Like you're ready to learn and you're ready to prepare for this long stretch before the season starts. And then I think on top of that, of course, it's a correlation between the NFL, but hopefully just that, even though it is day 1, that no one finds a way to get hurt. I mean, I think that's the last thing that we'd want. I don't know if you saw, but with the Falcons, Jalen Walker, former first-round pick, potentially maybe towards ACL. So Of course, I wouldn't think anyone would do that on day one. I wouldn't think, but just hopefully going forward, just nothing of that. We kind of just want that to stay away, and we don't want to hear any of that negative news.
I'm knocking on my wooden desk right in front of me, Reed, because listen, injuries are inevitable. They always throw around this saying, and I don't know if this is true. Or they always say football is 100% guarantee, of injury, which I'm like, tell me more about that. I mean, I feel like there's some guys have never had like major injuries, but I guess maybe they mean like a little sprain, tweak, or something. I don't know. They say it's 100%. Hopefully, you definitely can limit that as much as possible, right? As a matter of fact, Lord, we pray for a very safe, healthy, and productive fall camp for all these young men, not just here at Alabama, for across the country as they gear up for training camp. Because you're right, that is a big thing, man. I've dealt with injuries, not fun, especially when it's preseason, right? Because these guys are fired up, like they're excited. Like as a football player, like does training camp, lack of a better word, does it stink, right? Like somewhat. I mean, because you're talking about grueling hours, and I mean it's physically and mentally exhausting. I'm talking about you have no free time hardly, Rita. You're on the practice field, you're in the meeting room, you're in the weight room, you're in the cafeteria. Like my little getaway that I always had during fall camp, we would have a small window where it was around I want to say after practice. So we practiced earlier during camp than we would during the season. We practiced in the afternoon, right? Like we would be on the practice meeting started around, oh man, I want to say 2, I believe, and we'd be on the practice field around like 3:30, be done around 5:30 or so. But during training camp, it'd be a little bit earlier. Anyway, like early afternoon, we'd have a small window, Reed, where you'd have to training table or go get rehab, go get work done, recovery, stuff like that. And so I would not sneak back because we could do it, but I just run back to the dorms, and I would turn on like one episode. I was watching a show called Hell on Wheels. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, man. I just started watching it again. Great show, phenomenal show. I'm watching it on maybe Paramount now. I can't remember where it's at now. But anyway, I like turn on one show, Reed, and it was like the worst thing I could do because like I'd get in one show and I'd start dozing off. Then my alarm would go off and it's already time to go right back up into meetings. So then you're sitting in meetings from like what felt like 4 o'clock to like 9 o'clock, man. And we'd have like a walkthrough in between that. Oh my gosh, man. Sunflower seeds, Copenhagen, I mean, Mountain Dew. My diet was terrible during camp. I mean, it was great when we were like in the cafe, but talking about meetings, oh man, we would go through bags of sunflower seeds. I'd have like the rolls of just dip, like just trying to stay up. And I'm like, dude, it's bad. It brings back so many memories. So yeah, fall camp is it's tough. But then again, it's kind of, I don't know, man. Like I said, there's all the memories. Like at night, we used to sit there and play cards. Like we would sit there and play Tonk in the dorms because you got curfew, you can't go anywhere, you're locked down in the dorms, man. We almost joked about it. Like, of course, none of us had ever been to jail or anything, but kind of felt like that, man. I heard Roman talking about camp eyes. You don't get to see any women. You're surrounded all your teammates for weeks at a time playing cards, like within these walls. It feels like. So we kind of just joke about it, like we're in the slammer. Next few weeks, man. Straight football. That's it. But yeah, it's definitely a good time, man. You're doing what you love, and of course, geared up for the football season, which that's what it's all about, man. Football. We always said this before we hit the top of our break. Football is a very interesting sport, Reed. You know why? Because I feel like it's one of the few sports that you train pretty much year round. You put in all this work, physically, mentally, emotionally, the whole year, for what? 12 opportunities, 12 guaranteed opportunities to actually go out there and play the game. That's it. Like, so for all my folks that are still playing, man, take advantage of those moments. Because I'm telling you right now, you put in all that work, you get 12 guaranteed opportunities, hopefully 13, maybe 14, 15 if you're lucky to keep playing, right? But that's it, man. Baseball, softball, basketball, you play all those games. Football, man, you only got a few opportunities to go show it, man. So really embrace it and make sure you're ready. Because once the season comes, it's live bullets, man. And if you're at Alabama, we already know standards high, targets big on your back. And you're expected to show results week in and week out. That said, we're hitting the top hour break. When we come back, I believe we'll have Coach DeBoer's press conference following practice number 1 right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, that's right. Hold on. Who said that? Yeah, we're streaming the press conference literally probably the next couple minutes. As soon as it pops up. Cullen Bohannon, that's right. Yes, sir. Shout out to SD, man. Listen, I if y'all haven't checked that show out, man, you got to. It's a really good show. It's about the railroad, man. It's about the railroad. It's got Common in there. Here we go. Boom, we got the press conference. Let's go. All right, shout out to we're going to stream it from Bama Online. Clint's new landing spot. Shout out to Bama Online, man. So let's go ahead and pull this up right here. Perfect timing. So we'll stream it when we come back. We'll hear from head coach Kalen DeBoer, respond to it. And yeah. So yes, Flossie, he has spoken and we're about to hear it in a couple short minutes, man. I appreciate you guys being patient. Might need you to sub in for Katie to answer questions. Come on, man. Y'all are funny, man. Y'all are funny. Panthers feel like they lost their whole roster in training camp. Yeah, it was with injuries, 100%. Unfortunately, they've had it rough this training camp. So hopefully they can bounce back. Speaking of that, former Alabama defensive lineman LeBron Ray, he retired from the Panthers yesterday. It was a little bit unexpected. Not a little bit. It was unexpected. I think following practice, he announced his retirement, or right before practice, something like that. 28. So. Congrats to my guy LeBron, former teammate of mine here at Bama, and another member of the Carolina Panthers. Called it a career. I believe it was yesterday. So, what in the world? What is he doing? Oh, come on, man. All right, man. Bruh. Pastor Payne hops on here. He's literally getting like, what are you doing, man? We got a press conference to listen to, man. Get back to that. You're on mute, man. You're on mute. And just keep the camera.
I'm just messing with you.
We don't want to see all that, man. We're trying to listen to Kayla DeBoer. You're going to have scare the people out of the live stream, man. Bro, all right. See, I'm about to take you off stage. See, like, nobody want to see that. What are we doing, man? He's back in full form, man. Yeah, well, how about this? You enjoy your pedicure or whatever you're getting done, and then you can we're gonna listen to this Kalen DeBoer press conference, and then you can just jump on after that.
Sounds good.
All right, good deal. We'll hear from the pastor Payne after that. You should stay in the background that way you can listen to it. I want to get your thoughts on it if you have time while you're getting your little feet rubbed on. All right, here we go, guys. We'll have chat's cutting up, man. This dude here, man. Here we go. Head coach Kalen DeBoer. Here we go.
Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
And welcome back into this Wednesday edition, first day of fall camp edition of the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 12:30 WTBC. Hour number 2 is officially here, underway, which means we got head coach Kalen DeBoer speaking to the media following practice number 1. I know you guys have been waiting to hear from him. So here we go. We got it pulled up. We're going to listen to it. We'll respond to it, react to it. And without further ado, here's head coach Kalen DeBoer following practice number 1 of fall camp 2026.
All right, just obviously walk off the field number 1, as you'd expect. I mean, it's going to be high energy, and guys will never feel as good as they feel today. So, it's no complaint, no excuses. It's moving forward. The bar's been set with how they operate today, and we move on to the next. That's everything. So it's what they eat, it's their treatment. It's pay attention to details, and all the way through the rest of the day with our meetings, walkthroughs, whatever it might be. So looking forward to building on what we did today.
How the quarterbacks start?
I thought they were consistent. Met a couple of explosive plays in there. A couple plays that you can just see getting on the same page with a receiver type guy. Might not be a receiver, but tight ends, running backs, just little details. So I thought they were consistent, and love the demeanor, love their just command. We're into it. You can see the belief that the guys have on them.
What do you want or need to see from those two over this first week or so of fall camp?
We talk about response. Someone's going to win a play every down, right? So there's going to be something when you're going against each other, and you just try to make that as game-like as possible. And so, what's the response? And that's a lot of football, and the momentum, getting it on your side and keeping it on your side. And there's going to be plays that don't go your way, but what's it look like? How are you coming together? We're identifying leaders beyond the guys that we expect to be able to stand up and when needed and take charge. And so, but as a whole team, that's what it's got to be. And right now, it's kind of an offense versus defense thing. So you're trying to at the same time build belief and confidence in each other while you're really trying to ask the one side of the ball to just kick the other side's ass, all day. So.
Is there anybody who's starting camp on the sidelines, either for injury or discipline reasons?
No, nothing for discipline. Just guys that are working into a couple of reps. It's really nothing major. So it's more of just guys that we're trying to see. Danny Lewis, for example, would be a guy just making sure as we work into the physicality dial and everything. It's been a long road for him for a couple of years. And so he's in as good a spot as he's been since really after the bowl game in 2024. And so just trying to be careful with where he's at, making sure he can manage that. But he did a good job today. So there's a couple of guys just like that.
Caleb, this team isn't picked to finish as high as maybe what this program is used to. Do you think the guys pay attention to that? And then over the past day or so, have you felt a sense of motivation to prove people wrong?
Yeah, we are definitely aware.
Do you have an update on EJ? How does this kind of come out in the first fall practice out there? What's he up to?
Yeah, he did some nice things. It's good to see him out there flying around. A couple times you see what you saw from his high school highlight film, and so excited to see him. And we're not in pads right now, so a lot of that is yet to be seen. But just execution. He's a guy catch the ball well. I think he's got a really good head on his shoulders from what we've seen so far, and will be consistent that way. Learn the offense when he gets in there and in the rotation with the running backs like he was today. He did his job.
What can players show you during these early period where there's no pads that they are ready to be counted on this season?
Yeah, I mean, communication, just over communicating. I think that shows how important it is to you to do the right thing, and also making sure your guy next to you, behind you, in front of you, that you're all on the same page. That helps with the attention to detail. Just a team that communicates, a team that is going to be a confident one down the road. And so that helps with our execution. That's what it's about right now is executing, doing your job first, and just building that belief and trust of the guys around you that they're going to be where they're supposed to be.
Well, how do you think they communicated today?
I thought they did a good job. I brought that up at the end of practice with them. It's one of the reasons why I was right at the front of my mind. I could see some guys being intentional. Maybe one or two guys I asked a little bit more out of. They're doing a good job and looking great at it. And, they did it. You can see that throughout the rest of the practice. They were above and beyond and wanted to make sure that they were living up to that standard.
There were a ton of new faces in the offensive line in the spring. How have you seen them sort of catch up with the learning curve?
Yeah, I thought today was I thought it looked a lot better and cleaner than what it did at the end of spring. Again, we don't have pads on, so it's really hard to tell. But I thought that from responsibilities and just, there's got to be a trust that exists. It's just doing your job. It's knowing that where's that next help? Where's that help coming from? Is the double team and the footwork and being in sync, and you can rep a lot of those things and make sure you're on the same page through the summer. And you can tell the guys have been working at that and really being intentional that way too.
What's kind of the message that you're giving these guys as they start falling?
Yeah, just keep working. I mean, we've talked about working in silence since January, and these guys just doing their thing, not getting caught up in anything they can't control. We know what our goals are. We know what our expectations are. We've never shied away from that. We will attack the day, and the challenge for us right now is to continue to just become one. And that's been our theme here going into camp. Is just uniting. It's 11 guys on offense, 11 guys on defense, special teams, but also as a whole program, just having each other's back. And so that's the challenge that we got to continue with so many guys in the program. I've been pleased with it, but we got to be great because there's some big time moments that are going to be coming our way. The schedule you have, and know that that's going to happen in college football. So we got to be ready, prepared, know how we're going to respond.
What do you say to guys in position battles about the opportunity to turn them during camp?
Well, you really, what you want is you want guys, you want the guy you're competing against to be at his best, right? That's what a great teammate does. And then you want to be at your best to, win that position, win that battle. And so, just talking to guys about not hoping the other guy fails and isn't at his best, because that doesn't help our team. And, having that again, becoming one where what team success is, it's because of you being and doing everything that you can and being elite, and want your teammate that you're competing against to be the same.
Will Sanders full go at this point? What's it like having him back?
Yeah, it's good. It's good having him back. Guys that there are very few guys on the offensive line in particular that have the snaps in our program. He's one of them, and they've missed in the spring. You can feel that a little bit. Just continuity. I'm not saying execution-wise, things like that, but just another guy that knows how things go, knows the operation, knows the offense. So it's good to have him back.
Who are some guys you saw kind of setting the tone, energy-wise, leadership-wise, in this first game of fall camp? Yeah.
Who are they? I would say, it's who you'd expect. I think we've talked a lot about, I think the guys that took to media days, right? Bray, definitely. ZB does it. He's not as vocal, but man, he's got this presence about him and this way, and it's just a great 1-2 punch there. I think those guys on defense have really brought along. Others, Dijon, the experience in the secondary, it's kind of where it starts. That swagger, that's where it starts. And then with the new guys, joining in with the returners in the front seven, you can see more of that building. Guys that played a lot of snaps for us in the past, and some of the transfers who we expect to be also key performers for us, that, again, I think have done a great job of meshing. Probably is one of the words I've used, just meshing with the rest of the group offensively. Ryan, our quarterbacks, I think they've been great. And I think there's been a slow, build. I think, again, a lot of it's through the work, and that's what we've asked. But, Jackson Lloyd, I think you'd expect him and Michael Carroll, in the room, offensive line-wise. And I think we'll get there too, as he gets back and full go. So, I think there's other guys that have just stuck to the taking care of business. I see Caleb working, Marshall, I think Josh, has a presence when he's on the field. He's still kind of, like I said, with the defensive line transfers, fitting into his role, and does it with his play, maybe less or more so than with his talk. Running backs probably the same way. Daniel Hills had a great offseason, I think. And some of those guys right there just going about their business, going about their work, being leaders, and doesn't always have to be they have to be vocal. We're going to ask that out of them, but there's a progression to it, them taking care of their job and then bringing others with them.
Can you compare Javen James and Nick Brooks, what you saw of them over the summer, and maybe what they need to do in the competition for the right tackle battle?
Yeah, I think just being new is still just about being consistent, and I think they're really doing. I think they've come a long ways in that area. This spring, I would say, you can see what the potential was, you can see what they're capable of. I think each of them came into June or the end of May when we returned. There was definitely them coming back now, knowing what it feels like, what the expectations are, and I think both of them had great summers. I mean, they had great summers, both of those two guys, and so I'm actually interested. Again, we didn't have pads on, but I'm interested to see the film today, specifically hone on guys like that and see what they did, see how they executed.
The difference between an Adrian Clunt run fall practice, like in front of that O-line, like what kinds of skills did you see out there, or what was he kind of pushing toward the offense?
I wasn't right next to him much today. I was kind of wandering around. Different coaches stand in different spots in the field, and so you kind of know where guys are going to be, and some of it's where the coordinators are going to be at, and the signalers. I haven't gotten next to Coach Clem a lot, but I think as far as the guys, our players, I like that they have a good. I think there's a confidence in that they're being coached well, that they're they're making a progression, that the work that they're doing on the side is paying off. I think they can feel that. The film won't lie, and they'll be called out. I think that's what he does a great job of, but he also does it in a way where it's always teaching, it's always coaching, and he'll push them. He'll do what you'd expect the elite offensive line coach to do when it comes to demanding and getting after them. But he's also got this way of building camaraderie, which is obviously very good for offensive lines to make a good offense.
So there you have it. That was head coach Kalen DeBoer speaking to the media following practice number 1. We got plenty to talk about and discuss, but first we got to hit a timeout. So we're going to do that. When we come back, we'll get y'all's thoughts, comments, and concerns what head coach Kalen DeBoer had to say following practice number 1 of the 2026 football season. Fall camp officially underway. We're discussing right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
Hey everybody, Richard Adams here.
All right. Sorry, Richard. All right, let's see what the chat's saying, man. Kalen DeBoer's first press conference of fall camp, officially in the books, man. Anything stand out to you guys? I get it. It's practice number 1. There's just helmets. Like he had mentioned, kind of hard to really see a whole bunch. I mean, you're walking around. He's got to go back, watch the tape. I mean, he can't speak on every little aspect from practice, just yet at least. But did anything stand out to you guys? I'll give my observations when we come back. I'm curious what the chat's thinking. Money, what's up? I feel like it's been a minute, man. You guys are popping back in. That's what y'all took the summer off. Y'all left me here doing all the hard work while y'all were doing all this, traveling, vacation, all the fun stuff, while I was grinding through the dog days of summer. And now that football's back, y'all are rolling back in here. I'm just giving you a hard time. Glad to have all you guys here, man. And our new folks. If you guys are new, man, welcome in. If you guys are watching on YouTube, the only thing we ask is hit that like button. That helps us out, helps the channel get a little bit more exposure, get more folks in here, more eyes in here, more ears in here, and always more fun for you guys because more folks interacting in the chat, which is always great. So just hit that like button and subscribe if you guys don't mind. And of course, we got plenty of coverage and action coming y'all's way. We'll have plenty of breakdowns and previews throughout the season, right? So if you guys like the film breakdowns, if you guys are new and you haven't seen us do that, we got some of those uploaded. You can go watch them. Those will be coming y'all's way. You got what was I about to say? Yeah, to stay tuned for those. We got plenty of those. They're coming. And I know a lot of you guys like the former player breakdown stuff, man. So we're looking forward to doing a lot more of that. EJ flying around. Yeah, I'm excited to see him with some pads on, man. A little bit healthier too. Leonardo said, "I like the short answer about the disrespect." That kind of caught my attention, man. What did he say? We definitely hear it. Or yeah, let me see. What did he say? We definitely hear it.
Now in 2020 to finish this high over the past day or so, have you felt a sense of motivation to prove people wrong?
Yeah, we are definitely aware.
Yeah, we are definitely aware of it. And head nod. He wasn't going for that. Now he wasn't going for it, but he just was like, "Yeah, we're aware of it." Yeah, that did kind of. It sounded like, based off of his answer, number 1, he's sick and tired of the talk. But 2, I feel like that felt like a sense of urgency on his behalf, almost like he's just like, "Yeah, we hear it. We're just ready to get out there and prove it." Right? That's kind of how I interpreted it. So, yeah, I was fine with that. I was going to say that's one of my takeaways. I feel like, and I know a lot of you guys normally say, "Hey, he's not very convincing in his press conference or when he speaks," which, and I understand. He's not the most. How do you say it? Like, you listen to Pete Golding or Kirby Smart, you normally kind of walk away. They know what to say and how to say it. Like they have that presence to them. Does he have that necessarily? No, he doesn't. But I feel like this press conference, I felt like there was a little bit of a sense of urgency almost. A little bit more, I'm not saying more seriousness, but in the past, I feel like it was a little bit more like, "Hey, I'm trying to be buddy with the media. I'm trying to, however you want to word it." You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying he was trying to do that, not butter him up, but it was a little bit different. His presence was different. Now it feels almost like, "Hey, man, like we're here to work, right? Like I understand you guys are here to do a job, but like he just seems a little bit more locked in, whether it's from the external noise, whether it's from just the fact that it's year 3. or that he just got a new contract and he feels like he's got something to prove. Probably a little bit of all that stuff. I don't know. It seemed a little bit more in I don't know, in that regard, just to me at least. But I don't know. We'll see what you guys think. I'll read some of these chats. We're about to come back here. But I guess we can bring the Pastor Payne back on here now. He's got the camera back on his face. We just don't want to watch feet on here, man. He's gonna get us flagged on YouTube for his big old grizzly feet on the camera. So we'll probably we'll if we see the feet again, we'll have to put them back below the stage so we don't lose our monetization rights. And welcome back into this Wednesday edition of the Miller's Edge. First day of fall camp in the books, or practice, I should say. They are not slowing down anytime soon. They've got meetings, probably a workout, more meetings, training table, treatment. They got a whole bunch of stuff planned. We're going to just talk about practice for now. We just heard from head coach Kalen DeBoer, who spoke to the media following practice number 1. We kind of are breaking down some of the things that we heard Reed. I thought he mentioned a couple things that we probably can discuss and just bring up. Again, it's practice number 1, helmets only. Day 1, you're kind of getting with the flow of practice. Guys are kind of getting acclimated again to being on the football field, putting a helmet on for the first time in months, right? So nothing really groundbreaking. But he did talk a lot about the offensive line. They asked him specifically about Adrian Clem. Sounds like he's confident in the direction that they're trending. You know, he mentioned specific guys and just how he's been impressed with kind of their offseason work and what they've done. You know, specifically the 2 right tackles that are competing with Nick Brooks and Javen James, the transfer from Mississippi State. So to me, I feel like hearing those things is always encouraging when you're talking about critical positions and key battles. I think that's nice to hear. Again, these are just words. It's just a press conference. I'm not saying like, oh man, the offensive line is fixed now. He spoke highly of Adrian Clem, and these guys feel confident in the coaching they're receiving. If anything, I'm not saying he was like taking any shots at anybody. I'm definitely not saying that. But you can always, I feel like anytime they ask him about Adrian Clem, the way he speaks highly of him and the job that he does as a football coach, and it's clearly not intentional, but I think he's also kind of subtly expressing that they weren't getting what they needed to from the offensive line coaching spot the last couple seasons, right? Again, I don't think it's some, ill will or negative. I think he's just being honest. And to me, one of the biggest, positives of hiring Adrian Clem as offensive line coach. I always felt that he would have better teaching, right? Better install with the guys. We know how badly we need to improve the execution. I think he's going to be helpful with that. And every time we hear from Kalen DeBoer, at least over the last few short months, right? Adrian Clem's only been here since the spring. It seems very encouraging, right? And I think that's really important when you're talking about a group that's young, that is in dire need of development. That's a very positive sign. So the more I hear stuff like that, the more I'm encouraged. But of course, nothing's going to really seal the deal until you get to go out there on the football field and see them actually put the work in and have the results that are needed for this offense to be successful. But he did mention some offensive line. He mentioned Will Sanders a couple times. Clearly, it's trending that they're very high on him. I think there's a really good shot that he's another one of those guys that you pencil in there as one of your starters, at least, somebody that they feel comfortable with as a starter. So I thought all that stuff seemed pretty encouraging. Reed mentioned some of the leadership with the team, some of the guys that have been stepping up, whether it's more vocal guys doing it by action. I think it's interesting that a number of players he mentions when he talks about leadership are some of the guys that transferred in. Kind of interesting to me, but I think it makes sense when you have a lot of young players on your core is young guys you brought in, via high school, but then the guys from the transfer portal is going to be older guys. So I guess it kind of makes sense, but it's kind of interesting, because you're like, these guys are new to Alabama, but then they're also the leaders. So that dynamic feels a little interesting, but if it works, cool. Trying to think if there's anything else big. I know he mentioned the quarterbacks, mentioned they both had some good moments on day 1. Of course, it's day 1. Everybody's kind of feeling their footing and all that, but he brought that up earlier on. I think that might have been one of the first questions. Anything else that I missed other than Rita, I was mentioned during the chat? I mean, I feel like, again, this is the way I heard it. I know a lot of people are going to be very critical anytime he speaks, right? That's just, A lot of people are like that. They read into pretty much everything, and if they're not satisfied, then they're gonna let you know. But I did feel like there's a little bit of like a sense of urgency, maybe. Not like at the press conference, but in terms of like the season, right? I mean, we heard that answer he gave when they asked him about the doubt. I think I played it before we started, but here it is right here.
You think the guys pay attention to that? And then over the past day or so, have you felt a sense of motivation to prove people wrong?
Yeah, we are definitely aware.
Very short and sweet answer, right? You know, is that motivation? The guys pay attention to that noise? He said, yeah, we're definitely aware of it. Gave him the nod. So, I mean, it almost felt to me, Reed, and this is just my take on it. Maybe other people heard it differently. But it seemed like he's just ready to get to work, right? Like, I feel like in the past, there was always, it felt like, you know, hey, like wanting to really be expressive, talking to the media, and it's kind of like, hey, like not necessarily joking around, but the demeanor was a lot different. Now it almost feels like we're out here to work. Like this is part of it. You know, we're talking to the media, but like we're about our business, right? We're done with the talking. We're done with hearing all the external noise. And he even mentioned it, like they've been talking about this kind of working in silence. So I don't know. It kind of sparked my curiosity a little bit. I'm like, man, what? Maybe they are brewing something up, and maybe they like when people keep doubting them in the media. I mean, you look at the smirk on his face. I don't know. I mean, like, could he have some evil plan that he's brewing up there, Reed? That maybe they're like, yeah, keep writing us off, man, because we got something you guys don't know up our sleeve.
Yeah, that's kind of how I took this. Honestly, is that like it's like it's almost in the sense of like, hey, yeah, like jokingly, like, yeah, we get it, but like the games are over with. Like we're coming ready to work, and we're coming ready for the season. So it almost in the sense of like he didn't say it, but like at least from the people on the stream can see it, and is like at least how I took it in his just posture and everything is that almost in the sense of, yeah, just wait till we get out on the field.
Yeah, it kind of felt like that a little bit. I mean, he also acknowledged they've got work to do, right? I mean, but it did sound like he feels confident, especially like with the offensive line, like where they're at now compared to where they're at in spring. If you listen to them talk during the spring, and if you had a chance to see them, even if it was just a day, or if you had a chance to go to a scrimmage, I think sometimes the Alabama members get to go to scrimmages, whatever the case may be, or you played football here and you get to go up there sometimes. I think you could also agree that in the spring they clearly had a lot of work needed to be done, right? In the offensive line, it wasn't quite there, which I think anybody that's reasonable would have expected that to be the case, right? You don't just bring people in all of a sudden, you just plug them in there. They've known each other for a few weeks or did the winter workouts together, and then the offensive line problems are just fixed with new faces on the line and on the staff. But it sounds like to me, he's clearly not implying that they're where they need to be now. But it sounds like he's implying that they're trending in the right direction, at least like the offensive line. That is encouraging to me because we just know how important that piece is for this season. So really, I guess, kind of put a bow on it. All the questions that were asked, whether it's quarterback, offensive line, some of those things. I mean, I feel like the answers he gave, Reed, were clearly like, yeah, like it's a work in progress. But from his perspective, he likes kind of either where they're currently at, like that starting point, knowing where they can get to. It just that's the vibe it gave me. Hopefully that is the case. Of course, once I get to put my eyes on him here in a few days, I mean, that'll be a little bit different. But to me, I reserve judgment for like scrimmage stuff, or if they got 11 on 11, like media. That's the thing, like the media availability when they're doing individual drills, you're not able to really see. You're able to see those guys go through just that, like indie drills. But the problem is, since with me having to be ready for the show, I would just hang out there longer just to see those 11 on 11 periods. But I don't want to run late on getting rolling on here. But anyway, that to me is kind of what I'm most looking forward to. Kind of like he mentioned, like he's eager to see guys get pads on, because at the end of the day, football is played with pads. So I mean, you can see a little bit on day 1, day 2, day 3 if you still have helmets on. But the real test is once the pads get on, especially we're talking about trench play. So I think to me that's something what I would be most eager in seeing, right? The trench guys go at it. I feel like we have a good idea of kind of like skill guys outside of some of the young running backs. I feel like you kind of know what you're getting out of the skill guys on defense, skill guys on offense. You pretty much know a lot about that. But to me, like once the pads come on, you'll really have a true, I guess, idea on where you're at with the trench play of this football team, which is uber critical. We all know that. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't know when the first day in pads is, but hopefully right around the corner, because best believe we're going to be locked in on that. We got to hit a timeout. We come back and we keep discussing this press conference and more. We'll circle back to some of those record predictions, get y'all's thoughts on them, and maybe get y'all's as well here in the chat on any of our streams at the Miller's Edge. Right here, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Quick timeout. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right. Anything I missed, guys, that you heard? I should have been writing it down. I mean, that was a little bit longer of a press conference, but welcome back to my algorithm. What's up, Ronnie? Yeah, well, I'll be honest, man. I was kind of just during the summer just keeping the titles and stuff, just kind of just the Miller's Edge Live, Monday, Tuesday, just kind of keeping it simple. Now that we have specific things that we really are going to be diving into and discussing, I figured, well, which we were doing that then too, but you get the point. But glad to have you back. That's why make sure you guys are liking the video and subscribing, all that. That way you don't have to rely on that, man. Make sure you hit that bell notification. That way you get notified every time we go live. Yeah, he mentioned Daniel Hill having a great offseason. That's definitely something to pay attention to. A lot of eyes are on the newcomers in that running back room. But, of course, Daniel Hill is a guy with experience that I expect them to lean heavily on to contribute in that room, which they're really high on Daniel Hill. Last year, they talked about him extensively, man. They really like Daniel Hill. So I think he actually – what is he? I think he's like at 234, maybe 232. So, I mean, he's still a bigger back, but he moves well for his size. I just think, playing behind his pads will benefit him. If you're going to be that big, man, you got to utilize it. Smitty on the phone lines. We'll get to him, too. Good deal. Judy Walker says people need to quit calling Bama soft. Auburn is staying in a motel for 13 days to get away from all the outside stuff. To me, that is soft. Wait, huh? Wait, staying in a motel? Ain't no way they're staying in a motel. If they're staying in a motel, that ain't soft. If you stay in a motel, that's that might be the opposite. Maybe you meant like hotel, and there's no way they're letting those young men stay in a motel. If you're saying like a hotel or something. Here's another little clip. It's from Alabama now. I mean, I'll give you guys a sneak peek. I don't want to make it seem like I'm taking their business or whatever. Oh, and by the way, we streamed that live video from Bama Online. Got to give them credit for that. I did mention it before we played it, but they didn't have like the watermark or anything. So normally, I feel like that's giving people credit. But let me make sure I mention that Bama Online provided the press conference video we played. This is from Alabama. I'll give you guys a sneak peek because I don't want to be giving away their content for free, but this is, I guess, a new thing they're doing, fresh off the practice field. What was it called? I don't remember, but here it is.
First day of practice in the books for the Alabama Crimson Tide, and I'm here with head coach Kalen DeBoer. And coach, we're back.
Man, it felt good. Guys are flying around, had a good day, got after it, saw some things that we already have improved on since the spring, so it's fun to be out here.
That has to be an exciting feeling. Now, what was the tone that was set today that lays the foundation for the next 4 weeks?
Just aggressiveness, attacking, and then response. Someone's going to win a play, and last thing we just talked about, walking off the field. Someone's going to win a play. Someone's going to be elite and do their job at a high level, and offense, defense. Someone's going to get a win. The next play is what matters in the response, and I thought we were really good in that way today.
All right, so there's your little sneak peek. Again, that's on Alabama. I don't want to be rude and be playing their content that you got to pay for. So that sneak peek, I had to bring us back here. We're going to hit the phone lines. And welcome back into this Wednesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. All right, let's go ahead and jump to the phone lines. We played a little preview snippet of a video from Alabama. It's fresh off the practice field. It's about 2 minutes, 45 seconds. Just a quick little interview as Coach DeBoer was coming off of the practice field. And you can catch it on Alabama. Again, I don't want to be rude and play a video that's, you got to pay for to watch. But I'll play a little snippet because maybe that encourages people to go over there and sign up. Alabama, if you want to partner up with us, feel free to do so. All right, 205-342-9904. We got Smitty up first. Smitty, welcome in.
How's it going, Christian?
It's going well, brother. How's everything? Smitty, talk to me.
Man, we're cooking out here in Phoenix, all I got to say. They ain't talking about good cooking. I'm talking about like in the oven. Yeah, I tell you, hey, you be outside too long, you be like a piece of fried bologna out here, man.
It sounds like it. What are y'all about, like 105 or something?
Yeah, that's actually a cold day this time of year.
Yeah,
you know, hey, I tell you what, man, but those record predictions, right? I don't get too caught up on those, man, because it's not even about Alabama overall. There's a lot of lazy analysis. A lot of times, if they know the name of the quarterback, you rank high, no matter how he did the year before. If they know who the players you brought on the portal, because the portal is crazy hyped up. People get super excited about portal additions if you know their name. You know, and they do factor in last year in a lot of cases, but a lot of times in this day and age, there's so much turnover on these teams. How do we really know in most cases? Like, I think Oregon is going to be up there because they do have a good team. They brought many of those guys back. And Dante Moore said, I'd rather play college football than play for the Jets. Smart move, young man. You know, but hey, the crazy part is, Christian, the Jets, like, we're going to stink anyway next year. We can do this all day. You know, but Ohio State brought some players back. But the thing is, I know people love knocking the board over saying. A lot of Ohio State media fans aren't saying is the best thing ever. He's a good quarterback, but the issue of him is he hasn't been able to turn. It's first year last year, but he wasn't able to turn lemons into lemonade if everything wasn't going correctly. Because remember Bryce Young, he has a lot of lemons his first year started. Actually, his 2 year started, he made lemonade out of all of them, and that's just something right there. Indiana's going to be a good team. You know, you guys are good teams there. But like with Alabama concerned, they keep talking about last year, a lot of those cats left. The draft, the portal, whatever, graduation.
Right.
And I've always said I can't be concerned about any position group until I see them play. Because I'm not worrying myself into an ulcer or something I haven't seen. Now, do I think they can go 10-2? Sure. Can they go 9-3? Yes. But the most important game in that schedule to me is actually at Tennessee. Because we lost 2 straight there, but it's right after an emotional game at Georgia, be it versus Georgia. And I think that's a sneaky game that people aren't talking about.
That is a really good point. You're right. And, you know, I was talking with, who was it? Was it Reed? I can't remember who it was, but I forgot that we haven't beat Tennessee in Rocky Top in years. Like, I think last time, it was Wyatt maybe. I think it was like around COVID time or before. It's been a while. I didn't even realize that until I was talking with him. I was like, man, yeah, he's not wrong. Let me throw this back on the screen. This was one of those record predictions that we were listening to earlier. So this one had us beating Tennessee. So you mentioned that, yeah, you could see a 10-2, you could possibly see a 9-3. Hell, I mean, we don't know, but when you look at the record or the schedule right now, Smitty, let's start with those 5 games. ECU on the road at Kentucky week 2. That one to me, I'm curious about because you're on the road week 2. You're still probably expecting growing pains. It's an SEC game on the road. Florida State at home, South Carolina at home. Then you go on the road and face Mississippi State. First time Coach DeBoer's ears are going to experience those cowbells. They're kind of trending. They're trending in a direction that people are curious about with, Kamaro Taylor at quarterback, Arnett and kind of what he can do. What they've started to, I guess, develop there defensively as well. So, I mean, talk to me about those first 5 right there. How are you feeling about Bama's first 5 games? Do you feel like they go 5-0? Do you feel like they drop one that is a little bit unexpected, which we've shown to do over the last 2 years at least once? What do you think about those first 5?
I think they'll go 5-0, but I want Bama fans to come to grips that we don't have to apologize for winning. If you win at Kentucky by 2 points, it's better than losing by 2 points. Remember Coach Saban said this stuff at the end of his run. Got on fans talking about this stuff, right? And South Carolina, these teams are going to be tough because they put their pants on. Even Florida State, I don't care about beating Florida State by 4 touchdowns. I just want them to win the game. At the end of the day, it's all about winning the game. You go 5-0, you handle your business, and it gives you like some breathing room that you can drop 2. I'm not saying you designed to drop 2, but I'm talking about the reality of the schedule. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I said earlier, I feel like if you go 5-0 in those first 5 games, you could, like you mentioned, if you drop 2 respectable ones, 10-2 make the college football playoffs. I mean, I don't see too many people complaining.
See what happens.
Yeah, you see what happens. I mean, I'm sure we'll still have people complaining. People are going to complain about any little thing at times. But I do think, but if you do drop one of those first 5, then 9-3 feels a lot more possible. That's just kind of the way I'm looking at it as of now.
Yeah.
But I like what you said about Tennessee. Georgia's an interesting one just because it's at home, and we've actually fared well playing Georgia, right? Like, Kalen DeBoer has won, 2 of 3 games against Kirby Smart in Georgia so far in his tenure here at Alabama. But at the same time, Georgia football team is going to be a good one, right? That's kind of a toss-up in my opinion. I'm glad it's at home, of course. But in Texas A&M, LSU, one of those, I don't know. I feel more confident about A&M at home. LSU, I know a lot of people are kind of questioning Lane Kiffin, which I get it. It's all new. But, I mean, when you go get talent like he has and you pair it up with the coaching staff that he has, I don't know, man. I think that could definitely be a challenge. I mean, what do you think about that LSU game, Smitty?
I don't like that quarterback. I live in the area. Nah. He wasn't too hot when what's his name? Scatterboo left. I'm not saying he's terrible, but I think he's a placeholder because they didn't have anybody better for this year. And Lane went after other options first. But and plus the guy's coming off of Liz Frank. I think people are forgetting this. But they do have a former 5-star Hussein Longstreet who left USC and went to LSU. So you never know, you may see him. But I do think they have a lot of talent. But how can Lane Kiffin hold up with these crazy expectations, the crazy media now? Because Ole Miss, you go at 9-3, 8-4, they're building a statue. LSU fired 2 coaches who won national titles.
Yeah, I was about to say, unless you dip out the way he did. Hell, they probably would have built Lane a statue if he would have left with a little more merit.
Stuck around.
Yeah, they stuck around a little bit. He left a little, with a little bit more merit. Probably would have been, I guess, a different situation. But yeah, well, how about? Didn't LSU brought in another quarterback via the portal, right? Who's
Hussein Longstreet. He was a 5-star at USC. I got a buddy who's an SC fan, and you don't want to ask his thoughts on Lane Kiffin on live radio. That's all I got to say. We was at that game when he got fired on the tarmac. But I'll say this though. But just like Caleb DeBoer's press conference. I'm like, thank you, Caleb, for stop being nice to these crazy nut job media. You saw how they talk about you anyway. Stop being nice to them. You got to be a strong man like Nick Saban was. They're going to talk bad about you anyway. Go ahead, be strong, go off. Don't give them nothing. Because as soon as you give them something, they go at you then. Give them nothing. But I think what happens is also, I wonder if he told his players, don't say nothing to these people. Like trying to disrespect and everything. But I just think what happens also, people are pretty much saying all summer, Alabama ain't bleep. These players ain't bleep. The coaches ain't bleep. Right. At the end of the day, are you going to have the pride in yourself to step it up or go down swinging? Or are you going to prove those people right? But what I saw for those young players, those boys got the heart. And I'll say that to FSU. If you go 9-3, go with the kids. Man, those kids they put in, they show the heart. They show the toughness. They show hunger. I saw that. That's why I'm not totally pessimistic about the squad. I just think that youth may get them. And I say, if I'm going 9-3, Christian, I'm going 9-3 with Keelan Russell. Sorry. Hate to say it. Because you don't need to go 9-3, miss a playoff with the experienced guy. You go 9-3, miss a playoff potentially with the young guy. Texas did that last year. Because you still gonna have to start this boy one day anyway. And that's just something that I just look at there. And I'll say this before I run. Got a question for you. And I take it off. When you talk about Big Steve, right? Y'all talk about stamina and stuff like that. How does he improve that with football shape compared to like regular in shape? Because I know you talk about that a lot. And what are some ways someone can improve in that regard?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, I'll definitely I'll take that. Smitty, I appreciate you, brother. You have a great rest of your day, man.
Hey, you guys have a good one too.
Yes, sir, man. Good deal. I'll answer real quick before we hit this break read. Yeah, I mean, football shape, Smitty is 100% right. Totally different than getting in shape. I see we got Lisa Rawls in the chat. I know she's in like impeccable shape, right? But you know, it's crazy. Working out and doing that stuff is so different than football shape that, you know, you got to be able to kind of differentiate the two, right? So one thing I would say is you can do things off the field, Reed, like whether it's stair climb or whether it's, you know, you just any like regular conditioning things, right? Exercises where you're getting your I guess your blood pumping and you're really working those lungs. Like you can do those things to help get in shape, but then you also have to work on football shape. And what I mean by that is think about football and how it's played. It's a lot of short bursts, right? The average play we always say is like what, 6 seconds. You know, we came up with a thing one year. It was like 6 seconds of hell, right? So for 6 seconds, it's just going to be all out, 150%, just complete intensity, aggression. You know, trying to hurt somebody, right? Then the play ends, you get a moment, right? And then you got to keep you rinse and repeat. Now, unless you're playing a fastball team, that goes no huddle. That's a little bit different, but you got to get in shape for that. So to answer Smitty's question, the best way to get in football shape, number one, is do the things outside, right, of football to get in the proper shape, to have like to lay the foundation for practice. And then at practice, you have to practice a certain way. That is the best way to get into the correct football shape. Anytime that you're getting reps in practice, right? We go by racks, right? So you might have a rack of 4 plays for the ones, a rack of 4 plays for the twos, right? You know, you got a few plays, you're in there, and then you're gonna have a few plays off. When you're in there, you have to go 150%. Like you have to challenge yourself, because that's how you build those habits, and that's how your body really starts getting accustomed to operating at that level. And then when the game comes, you know what I mean? You just naturally are playing a certain way, right? You're playing to your own standard that you set by your practice habits. So that would be my advice, because I'll be honest with you. I mean, game shape is it's tough, man. When you're running around with a helmet and shoulder pads and it's like quick bursts, and not just that. Think about this, Reed. You're using stamina, right? Especially when you're in the trenches. When you got big 330-pound guys leaning on you, that requires stamina. You're not running around, but you're holding your ground. You're holding up. You're trying to forcefully push through somebody, and then you're turning, getting out of the stack, and running full speed, trying to chase somebody down, and running back to the football, getting in your stance. It's a lot. So yeah, you just have to just kind of really just practice what you're going to be doing on the football field. That's one of the best things. That's why you see a lot of guys train in the off season with helmets. They put their helmet on and they do like football specific training exercises. So really good question. So that would be my way of getting in the game shape as quick as possible. Then just do an extra after practice, man. Why not? When you're tired, right? Just like when you're working out, those reps when you're about to fail, those are the best opportunities to really gain more muscle and gain more strength. So very similar stuff on the football field. Good question. We got to hit a timeout. When we come back, we have our final segment here on this Wednesday edition, first day of fall camp, right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
Coming up on the game with.
All right, let's see what we got here in the chat as we finish up. Let's listen to a little bit more of this. We'll get a little bit more of the sneak peek from this Alabama video. Again, if you guys want to watch the full one, just check them out if you can. Right, I get it. You know, stuff is not cheap nowadays. I think $5 though, you get access to all the content. So you got an extra $5, man. Of course, you can always drop a super chat here, support what we're doing, or you can subscribe to Alabama, or do both if you can. So we always always encourage you guys to support those guys.
Yesterday was report day for your team. It was the first time that you had a chance to stand in front of them, see their faces. What did you task them with as their head coach heading into camp?
Just focus on what we can control. Off season is talking season. Now it's time to work, and that's what we're about. So just work in silence, and that's what we've done, I think, all season long. Just stay in the course and building that inner confidence, building that swagger that we can carry into the fall.
Yeah, so see, he said that same thing in this interview as well, like working in silence, right? Developing that inner confidence. And you see how he's answering? That's what I meant, like more urgency, a little bit. His demeanor's a little bit different. It seems like he's, and rightfully so, he's probably sick and tired of all the people kind of, jumping on. I'm not going to lie, man. I mean, Stephen A. Smith and Paul Feinbaum, it's one thing that people are just predicting, like, hey, man, a little bit of a down year in Alabama standards, right? But, I mean, people are jumping on his case, man. So it sounds like he's just kind of like, I'm over it. I'm ready to prove it, which I kind of like this demeanor out of him. I really do. I like it. Real ninjas moving silence. Y'all are funny, man. Y'all are funny. Truth, very different kind of shape. What you need to do and be for football versus general fitness. Whole different level. I salute what those guys do. It's not easy to be ready for. And that's not taking anything away from being in like the type of shape off the field, because that is very impressive and tough to do. It's just there's always a misconception. Not saying you guys have it, but I'm saying a lot of people just think like, oh, you just go lift a bunch of weights and you'll be a great football player. But man, football shape, whether it's cardio conditioning type shape or even just from a strength and just building your body standpoint, right? They're so different. Football requires specific movements and whatnot. So that was a good question by Smitty. Really good question. Because I'm telling you, man, it's crazy. There was years when I was playing where, I mean, I felt like I was in great shape via the offseason program, like the 110s. I was feeling like I was doing well on all that stuff, and that portion of this of the offseason was coming to a close, and we were getting up for fall camp. And it's like football shape is totally different. But there was like a year or two where I was like, man, I feel like I'm in good shape this time around. Like I feel like I'm really geared up. And then it's like that first practice, man. You're like, holy crap, I forgot. Like, just like I don't know what it is, man. Here's another example. It's like the fourth quarter program that we used to do. So we used to split it up. So it was split in half. So the first half, so one group would be on the inside, the other group would be on the outside. So it typically would be like the bigs. I think they would all be on like the inside, and the mid skill and skill would be on the outside, or whatever it was, however we did it. And what I mean by inside outside, so on the inside you would have Coach Cochran leading, like it would be like shuffle 20 yards, sprint another 20 yards, and then like karaoke, then sprint, single leg bound, stuff like that. Like that was the middle, right? You go back doing things back and forth. And on the outside, we'd be running 80s, or we'd be running what is it called? 80s. Then what's the other thing where curves, right? Where it's almost like you're chasing the front man down. But then we'd switch, and then we would go to the middle and they go on the outside. And then after that, we'd have a quick water break, and then we would go into like drill, like not drill work, but it was what do we call it? I can't believe I don't even remember this crap now. What was the name of it? Basically, it was like it was stations, right? Or we'd have a day where we'd do stations. Like so, instead of the outside, we'd do stations. That's what it was. We'd always do the middle, but then we'd do stations instead of, or whatever it was. Anyway, stations were always the hardest. And it was crazy because you would think that running curves and 80s would be the most challenging because it's just a lot of running. But you could kind of like stride and kind of conserve. Stations were tough because it was like basically each station were like different drills. Like one station would be like the 4-cone drill, and you just rapid fire. Another station would have like hoop drills and stuff like that. But it was like rapid pace and so explosive and just up tempo. It was much more football. It was closer to like football specific stuff. And when I tell you stations were so much harder than like the long running we did, and that just goes to show the biggest difference between football shape and just, regular cardio that you might do. We got a super chat from Lisa Rawls. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. Here we go. Hold on. Let me bring us back. And welcome back into this Wednesday edition of the Miller's Edge. First day of fall camp officially in the books, at least in terms of practice. We got a super chat from Lisa Rawls. Thank you so much. As we wrap things up, she says a super chat for a super show. Yeah, I got a lot from Alabama. Yeah, I get a lot from Alabama subscriptions, but also a ton from the Miller's Edge. Roll Tide, roll, a tuition payment made today. I appreciate the kind words and, of course, the support, right, with your super chat. We really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And I'm glad you guys treated like I guess like a football school, man. That's the goal, man. We want to teach the game while we entertain you a little bit, inform you guys a little bit, and keep you guys updated. So thank you guys so much, seriously, for all the support, whether it's super chat or just hanging out with us. We've had a boatload of people tuning in, Reed. We've got like hundreds of people tuning in just on our streams alone. That's not even including radio and all that stuff. So thank you guys so much, man. Football's back. It feels great. And we appreciate you, Lisa, for the kind words and that super chat. Thank you so much. And like she mentioned, Alabama, they do have some really good content they've been pumping out. I don't know if you checked it out, Reed, but it's like $5 a month. Again, I played a little snippet from that video, but Andrew Bone is posting a bunch of content. So I feel like Alabama, if you're an Alabama fan, you're in a good spot, man. You got a lot of good people doing some stuff. I know, Clinton was on the show yesterday. He's doing some stuff with Bama Online. I know our folks love listening to that. I feel like we do a pretty good job here on the Miller's Edge, so you can always tune in for us if you want real football-specific stuff, breakdowns, really talking about the X's and O's. Now, Alabama's got Andrew Bone putting out, really good content, whether it's videos or just articles and stuff. So I feel like right now, man, we're in a really good space. Of course, tied with 100.9 all the shows and coverage as well, so make sure you guys are staying up to date with that. Before we get out of here, I got to remind you about our friends over at Lamprilla Law. Education advocacy. Again, remember, if you need anything in terms of representation, whether it's any criminal defense matter, academic misconduct, NIL situations, contact Lamprilla Law. They will take great care of you, first-class service. They love serving Alabama folks, I promise. Adam will hook you up if you're an Alabama fan. I guarantee you that much. But even so, they are affordable. They will beat out the competition. They got representation that you can afford. So check them out. Plus, they also have services. If you guys are or have any high school, college, or graduate students that are in need for test-taking preparation, subject matter mastery, academic and career planning, they also help out tremendously with that. Go to their website, lamparello-law.com, where you can schedule yourself a free consultation with Adam and his team, and they'll get you covered. Again, that's Lamparello Law, the official representation here on the Miller's Edge, which, matter of fact, Adam will be joining us tomorrow. So looking forward to talking with him here on the show. We got another super chat before we go from my guy, Piano Man. Thank you so much for the support, man. Appreciate you always hanging out with us, talking football, as we appreciate all you guys listening and tuning in right here on Tide 100.9, all of our streaming platforms, as we get you guys ready for the season. But right now, we're digging into training camp. Day 1 in the books. We'll be back for day 2 tomorrow, right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
You've been listening to the Miller's Edge, tackling sports daily.
Hey, Richard Adams here with that.
Sorry, Mr. Richard Adams. We got to get out of here. Reed, I appreciate you, brother. Good stuff. Chat, before I get out of here, I'm going to see if there's any last... let me throw this back on the screen for 2 seconds. Any last-minute question, guys, before we get out of here? Piano Man, thank you so much for that super chat, brother. I appreciate you guys, man. I really do. I appreciate you guys. Trust me, I'm doing my best to keep the content coming. Working on getting some more guests lined up too, and we're going to have a fun football season, man. Fun football season. Plenty of breakdowns, plenty of previews, X's and O's, diving into the guts of it, man, like you guys enjoy. So I'm looking forward to that. Keith, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. Bama Panthers fan, love all these. Are those and Locked On Bama's good too? Yeah, I haven't really seen them as much, but I've seen them pop up, man. But yeah, I feel like there's a lot of good stuff that people are doing in terms of content creation, man. So shout out all the people doing some content creation. Where POP go, he I don't know, he dipped out, man, but he was getting his feet done. So I don't know, man. He probably was enjoying that. He claims football season he's gonna be ready to roll consistently, talking football. So I mean, we're gonna hold him to that, chat. We got to hold him to it, man. Make the show longer. I appreciate that, Robin. What we do is sometimes, like, I'm just hanging out on the stream because now we're done on radio. Again, just a reminder for anybody that's new. So we're a live radio show, Monday through Friday, 11 to 1. So when you guys are watching on the stream, I know people are so used to just, content. I mean, you see podcasts and just live streams. We are, in fact, a live radio show. That's why we have to go in and out of break and work the way we do. So Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC, the global app. We're live on those platforms and those stations. So we have a two-hour show. Sometimes I'll hang afterwards, called overtime. If say we want to break down some film, I'll just kind of go straight into the film after we finish the radio show. We'll hang out for a little bit longer. We'll be posting separate stuff, like separate videos individually on our YouTube channel. So be on the lookout for that. And I'm thinking about, I know I talked about this earlier in the spring, but I'm thinking about starting more like an evening podcast, maybe once or twice a week, even if it's just 30, 40 minutes. I know it's going to end up running longer, but I know Slade wants to do some work. Get back to jumping on here as much as he can. Slade Bolden. So maybe, I just know the timing with his new job, it wasn't lining up, but maybe we can get him on here for like an evening thing. Maybe me and Slade can jump on here at least once a week in the evenings if you guys would be interested in that still. So yeah, I got some ideas. I'm just trying to get everything all finalized, man. That's why Nick Saban didn't play with those people. They were scared to ask questions sometimes. Yeah, I mean, he tried to, do his part, right? I mean, like he understood, there's a reason for media, but you're right. He wanted to focus everything inward. He wasn't worried about anything externally, especially when it was distracting. That was one thing he hated, man. If he felt like it was a distraction to the team, he wasn't with it, man. When's your next press conference? Wait. My next press conference? Whoa. I don't have a press conference plan for myself. But I said it earlier during the show, but if you guys missed me mention this, you probably know, but I host the post-game show with Gray Robertson on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. So recapping every single game, right? Every single week we're recapping what transpired in the games. So make sure you guys tune in for that. It's immediately following every single Alabama game on the post-game show on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. But this year we're expanding even more, and now I'm going to be hosting alongside Roger Hoover the pregame show as well. So tune into the Crimson Tide Sports Network. So I don't have any press conference planned, but I do have a pregame and postgame show throughout the whole year with Roger Hoover, Chris Stewart, and those guys on the network. Right, we will be providing coverage all season long on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. So let's see. Such an evening show would be cool if you can pull it off. Yeah, no, we definitely can pull it off. I was talking to my dad about that. I was like, I think we need to start jumping on here extra, just because during the radio show, I can't break down things as extensively as I would like to, given that, we're taking into consideration a radio crowd that's not visually watching the show. So sometimes it's tough to only do that. Now we've done it before, but I just almost think it'd be better if we'll do a little bit during the show, of course, like on a Monday, the Monday following a football game. We're going to do, you guys know how I do my breakdowns. I'll spend probably 30 minutes in depth talking about what happened in the game, right? Like if you guys watched this last year, every single Monday or listen to us, every single Monday was always like that. Friday, I go over my keys for the game, all that stuff. But sometimes, or at least towards, I don't know, maybe we did early on in the year too, but we started pulling up tape during the show. Then we had some issues with the tape on YouTube, and so that kind of stopped. But I think I've got a way where as long as we do it a certain way, we don't have to worry about that as much. But again, I think it'd be easier if we just had a separate, like say we hopped on a live on like, I don't know, Thursday evening or something like that. Like say we got Slade to jump on here, did a little bit of a preview on a Thursday, then maybe like a Monday evening did a recap. I guess we could do it on Sunday. I guess we could do a breakdown on Sunday because, do you guys, I know a lot of people are doing their little Sunday reset and stuff. Are you guys interested in like, would you guys be up for a live video on Sunday? Like, would you guys be down to watch that on a Sunday? Like, I don't know, probably evening. Folks got church and stuff. Maybe we could do a Sunday deal. Wait, know what I'm referring to? Wait, hold on. Wait, no, I really don't, Jeremy. Are you saying like the next press conference for Coach DeBoer? Wait, are you saying because you told me I should take his place? Is that what you're saying? If that's what you meant, now I'm subbing. Okay, yeah, okay, my bad. I'm picking up what you're putting down now. Keith said he'd be down. Jake's down. Robin's down. Oh, so maybe we should maybe I'll reach out to them and see what they think about hopping on Sunday and doing a breakdown. Saturday, again, I host a post-game show, so it's too hard to like I can like jump on for like 15 minutes as I'm preparing to do the post game show, but I don't have a bunch of time. You know what I mean? Because I mean, my job is to do the post game show on the network. There was one time I streamed myself doing our post game show, which is kind of cool. Dang, so it seems like all you guys like Sunday afternoon / evening. Maybe that would be good. I don't think I know of them. Well, NFL though. That's the only thing. NFL is going to be going on. So I know my dad's going to, I mean, there's that window, right? Like, what is it? Like right after like those 3:30 games or whatever, before the late one. Maybe we could try to squeeze it in that window. Maybe we could try to squeeze it like before the what is it, like 6:30, 7:30 o'clock, or what is it, 7:30 games, whatever it is. Yeah, maybe we'll do that. I'll run it by. I'll shoot Slade a text. 'Cause I want Slade in on it because I know he said he's definitely down to start jumping back on. He loves getting on here. He had moved and his schedule had changed. Robin, thank you so much. Loved you as a player, now love you as a radio host. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I really do. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Recruiting is totally different. Indiana dominated. Everyone didn't have but 8 4-stars, whole team on it. So it ain't about 5 stars. No, it's definitely not only about that. But I mean, you do need Jimmys and Joes, right? Indiana, I mean, we're just being honest. I'm not calling them an anomaly, but you know, I think that just shows you got to give a lot of credit to their staff on their evals, their scheme, their system, their coaching ability, the culture that they've built, right, and established there. But you're right. I mean, just because you have a boatload of 5 stars doesn't mean you're going to be necessarily successful. But the reality is, I mean, you have a better chance at having success when you have better football players. I mean, that's just a fact. I mean, you need the Jimmys and Joes. You guys would rather watch this than NFL? Well, I'm thinking, I know my dad, he loves sitting there watching NFL games. But that's what I think. There's probably a window where we could jump on for like 30, 40 minutes. Probably wouldn't be a problem. So we'll look into that. I'll start trying to get that all secure, and I'll keep you guys posted. But I'm gonna go ahead and hop off of here. Got a few things I gotta take care of. I got a lot of stuff going on outside of this. So I'm gonna go get some lunch, try to take care of some of that stuff, and then look forward to being back tomorrow. Now, again, there are going to be clips and stuff rolling tomorrow. I don't know if I can get up there for like the period. I can try, or worst case, we'll have somebody. Maybe I can send somebody. They'll get those clips for the media portion of it. Either way, there's going to be clips tomorrow because there's a media viewing portion of practice. So make sure you guys have y'all's Twitter or X feeds ready to roll, because for all you guys that really enjoy like the practice highlights, there will be those tomorrow. That is a fact, because that will be the first media viewing availability. So we'll play them, we'll respond, we'll talk about it, we'll do all that. And we'll be back tomorrow for day 2 coverage right here, same time, same place. If you guys haven't already, on your way out, hit that like button. We appreciate you guys. Appreciate Lisa, Piano Man, you guys for the super chats. Thank you guys so much. All you guys just listening, hanging out. I really do. I appreciate you guys. You guys are like family here, man. So I look forward to this every day, and I get excited to be able to talk to you guys, man. It's a blessing. So thank you guys for helping making all this possible, and looking forward to a fun football season, fun training camp with you guys. And we'll be back tomorrow for day 2 right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We'll see you guys tomorrow.